Cameron, what's really, really good?
Miley was good. What's gutter, what's grimy, what's good? That's my favorite.
Okay.
Next to Miley was good. Now we have a blooper reel. You're welcome.
Well.
This is Pusha T time. I'm Special.
I'm Francesca.
And of course, it's the first episode, so we gotta talk about Pusha T. The new album drops, and between the two of us, we've had a couple disagreements and a couple things that we agreed on.
Someone's a hater.
I'm not a hater. And there's people out there that feel me on this, so make sure you get down there in those comments and agree if you agree with me. Basically, all I'm saying is I don't like Push rapping on futuristic beats. I want him on some raw shit, some simple shit. The man says amazing things, so he doesn't need all this bullshit in the background. No offense, Timbaland, I love you, you know, VA all day, it's all good. But I just don't need the futuristic. Just keep it real raw, real simple.
Okay, so here's the thing. This comes down to, for me, artist growth, right? And I feel like Push is going in a direction that's maybe a direction you don't like, but I don't think that detracts from the album. I actually think it was great. Like, I love the production with the exception of one track, which did not fit at all.
I like that track.
Different story, Q-Tip.
Yep, shout out to Q-Tip.
But I think we have this conversation when greats produce a lot of work, right? Eventually changes come. Sometimes they come earlier than others, like Kanye. Kanye was constantly evolving. And there are still people who are like, I want old Kanye back.
Yeah.
And it's like, which old Kanye?
For real.
But with Push, I feel like he had a more consistent sound, and this, at least production-wise, is different.
Well, and first off, if you don't know me, you gotta know that I'm super biased in this situation. Anyways,
Absolutely.
It's Neptune till I die. That's just what it is. So of course, I'm always gonna want to hear Push over Neptune's beats. And even though those get super futuristic, I feel like Pharrell and Chad give him a little more of the simpler beats. Like, honestly, I didn't even listen. I listened to the Rich Gang album like once, and I was like, nope, there's no Neptune tradition. I can't even listen to this. So that's just where I'm coming from. So there is a little bit of bias there, and I feel like the whole artist growth is a big deal, and I understand that. But just because he's growing doesn't mean I have to like it. I still love the album. He's rapping amazingly.
Absolutely.
Great hooks, great features. It's just the beats are not my favorite.
The great features.
You don't want the beats? Okay.
Okay, so here's my thing with Push. I never want features on Push albums.
True.
There's always too many. I'm not here for Kelly Rowland. I'm not here for The Dream. I'm not here for Chris Brown. I'm not here for all of these people.
I'm here for The Dream.
I'm not here for The Dream.
I'm here for The Dream.
The only time I'm here for The Dream is with the fucking
Shiny Suit.
Yeah, and even then he doesn't sound like himself.
That was
Like,
amazing.
that's the only time.
If you haven't heard that, please
Jay.
put this on pause, go into the next tab, type up Shiny Suit Theory. Yes, that woman's voice that you hear at the end,
It's The Dream.
Incredible.
Jay Electronica, Jay-Z, shout out.
My God.
Shout out.
One of the best tracks ever.
In life.
Oh my God. But see, I was okay with most of the features on this album.
What weren't you okay with? Kalani.
No, I like Kehlani.
Okay.
I'm okay with Kehlani. I'm trying to think of who I didn't necessarily like. For the most part, because you didn't like Jill Scott.
That song is growing on me. That doesn't sound like Jill Scott. Again, like when I heard that, I was like, this ain't Jill Scott. Like, who the fuck is this? And that's no knock to Jill Scott. My opposition to that was more like, this is another feature on an album I don't need. But that song is growing on me, especially since, I mean, obviously I feel the meaning behind it, right? It's just, I sometimes have trouble with artists doing something. It's not different, because Push always says political shit, right?
Yep.
But it's completely focused on that,
Yeah.
which is different. So, I mean, he, like, in most songs, in most Push-only songs, I'm not talking about clip songs, he says something.
Yeah.
Something, and it might slide under the radar, whatever the case may be, but he says something. So this isn't new. Like, people coming out are like, oh my God, Push is being political, like, this is some new shit. I'm like,
Where have you been?
What have you been listening to? I mean, I know it's like crack, 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 but I mean, crack is political. Drugs are political too, which I don't think people think about sometimes, but I mean, so that track isn't, like, I don't have as much beef with that, especially since the sound is consistent. Like, the sound of that song goes with the rest of the tracks on the album, with the exception of that fucking Q-Tip song, FIFA. Like, it's a completely, like, lighter, brighter sound in terms of the production, where everything else is, like, dark.
Sure.
And it's like, why?
Why
Like,
not?
because it doesn't sound good. It's not consistent, it doesn't flow. It's like, it's breaking it up, but it's not breaking it up enough to make it work.
I like it because it was one of the more raw track.
You know why you like it.
So why did I like it? I do not have a fetish with Q-Tip.
No, that's not what I meant, girl.
I'm like, whoa, that's not my man. That's not it. I'm sorry.
No offense to Q-Tip if you watch
not
this.
At all. Shout out to Q-Tip.
We're big fans.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it. Let's just keep it real. It didn't fit with it didn't fit. It was like the outlier, and it didn't work as the outlier. To me, it didn't work. And he wasn't saying shit on that. I mean, I don't know. I didn't feel like he said anything particularly like outstanding on it either that sort of made it worth having.
Makes sense. I'm okay with it. I'm trying to think of what feature I could have done without. I like Kehlani. I like The Dream. I love that he brought Abuela back. That was, hey, what's up?
I'm sorry, Beans.
Yes, I was getting there. Beanie Siegel, I was good with that.
We're here for it.
Yes. Who else? I think it was all good as a whole, but since we don't want to focus this whole thing on Pusha T, because how are we going to have more episodes if all we do is talk about Pusha T?
We could do that.
I mean, this is the name.
My name is my name next week.
Yeah, we could do that. But stemming off of artist growth, because as you mentioned, like Kanye, he's been growing since day one and amazingly grew, especially with the last couple albums, just to a more darker, raw sound that, Heartbreak, all of that was so different, and almost like, for me personally, like I would hear it the first time and I'd be like, whoa, and then I hear it the second time, like, okay, I like this, but I don't like most of the rest of it, and then after a while it grows on you to where you're like, I like this whole thing, like there's, you know what I mean, and there's not a lot of artists that can do that, I feel like.
Well, plus I feel like Ye has the whole, people have not let go of this, like, I am for Yeezus, I am against Yeezus thing. It's like there's two types of people in the world.
Yep.
There's Yeezus people and there's not Yeezus people. I don't get it. Like, because I'm a Yeezus person. But I feel like that to me has just been an extension of what Kanye's been doing the entire time, which is evolving.
Yep.
Like, he's been mutating.
Exactly.
But like getting better.
Yep.
And I mean, well, I say that until these last couple Good Friday joints came out and it was like, some of them shits.
But that's part of growth. It's doing things that aren't, great to everybody, or maybe not great as a whole, whatever. But it's like that's part of growth, is finding the tracks that you don't like. And I feel like an artist like Jay-Z, his growth is super different too, because once he started doing rich guy rap, which a lot of people called it, a lot of people stemmed away from too, because they're like, I can't relate to this. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody likes a little bit of braggadocious in their rap, but not completely talking about Warhols and Fouriers and all of that. Like, a lot of people were turned off by that because they're like, I don't even know what that is, or I'll never have that, or whatever. So that growth was interesting too to see, because a lot of people were not messing with it, but then I go back to that album, I'm like, this is great. Like, I feel like there's a time and a place to listen to watching stuff.
Well, I mean, not just that. Like, I feel like the difference with Hov is his sound didn't change, his message did. Whereas most artists, when you think about change, it's sonic. It's like, it sounds different.
Yeah.
And I mean, a little bit, obviously, because we're talking about two completely different times between when Hov came out and now. Yeah. So obviously there have been some changes, but I don't feel like it's been that big. It hasn't been a Kanye level change to where people reject that aspect. Yeah. I think it's just like what you said. It's like, I can't relate to what you're saying anymore because I didn't come up on millions and millions and millions of dollars like you did. But people still fuck with, because I feel like we all listen to music that in some way represents something that we don't have or we can't experience. Like, and we listen to other music that absolutely does it. Art imitates life. Like, we do both. Like, you can enjoy both. Not to go back to Push, but I can listen to him talk about crack all day. What does that have to do with me? But enough about Pusha T, because we've been talking about Pusha T this whole time.
I mean, it happens. It's gonna happen a lot. This is Pusha T time. It's gonna come up in conversation. But the thing that I wanted to say about artist growth is, I say this a lot too, I love the internet for the fact that artists can grow so fast, and artists can have these different boxes that they're in and not just be like, oh, that's so-and-so, they do this. Like, a perfect example that I always bring up is Childish Gambino. First time I heard Childish Gambino, he was freestyling and it was trash. Super trash.
I believe it.
It was so bad. But then somebody was like, oh my god, Childish Gambino is singing, and I fell in love. So it's like, it's so dope to see artist growth and just artists being able to not stay in one box and be able to be this person, that person. So, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if Push wants to rap on futuristic beats, he can do that. He has the freedom to do that. I'm still going to enjoy it because I still love his subject matter. I still love his metaphors. I still love what he's talking about and the way he raps and things like that. So, yeah.
What enough about Childish Gambino?
Oh.
Because that topic...
That was just an example that I had. I'm sorry. That's just how it happened.
No, but I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like, I think that's the dope thing about you and I, too. Like, with our taste in music, we like a lot of the same shit, but we also like some really different shit, which I think is good. Like, I think that's part of the thing that annoys me about, I mean, sort of going back to the internet and rap. Like, people get their opinions fucked up with facts, and they think that just because they don't like something means it's not good. It's like, it means you don't like it. Like, I say this all the time. I can accept that J. Cole is a good rapper. I don't want to listen to him. You can all day, not with me, but I mean, all day. But exactly. I don't ever want it. Like, I've never in my life been like, let me just go holler at this J. Cole album. Ever. Never.
And that's a big thing that I always tell people too. Like, you have to realize what's for you and what's not for you. J. Cole isn't for a lot of people. A lot of the stuff he raps about is being in college and that thing. And maybe even if you still went to college, that's not your college experience. That's not something you can relate to. So it's not for you. You know what I mean? So
I couldn't tell you what the fuck J. Cole raps about. I mean, just to be honest. But
about college. And then after he got out of college, he started rapping about damn near nothing. I'm sorry. I'm just...
You get it. That's real though. Like, every time I hear him, the only time I enjoy J. Cole, like, to keep it real, the only time I enjoy J. Cole is when he's a feature. Like, I can only think of songs I like him on where he's somebody else's track. Like, and that's wow.
Yeah, it's not the best. I personally only like the first couple mixtapes, a little bit of the first album here and there. He'll have a good song, but kind of went downhill. And that's another part of growth too, is there are so many people's albums or so many people's discography where their first album, incredible off the bat because you worked your whole life to make this first piece of work and it's gonna be so good, and then afterwards it just kind of trails off. And I think that's where growth is especially important, because you're gonna end up with one good album and then the rest are trash, or maybe one good album and then a couple albums later you have an okay one. So it's like the growth is so necessary. And you know what I mean, like me, you might not always like everything, but you like it for what it is.
Nothing. When it comes to J. Cole, you might like nothing.
That's okay too.
Yeah,
that's okay. So guys, if you agree, disagree, let's get the conversation going right down there in the comments. Let us know what you think, what you liked, what you didn't like. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Click subscribe so we can bring you more. Pusha T time. That's it. That's how we end it. So, Arizona, what's good? We need that good good sponsorship, B. Arizona, I'm out here.